Hello and welcome to episode 32 of the Made by Mimino podcast. My name is Kathryn and this is a knitting podcast where I talk about my projects, things that I'm working on, which is kind of the same as projects, anything that I finished, but mostly knitting, occasionally talking about other crafts as well. But yeah, this is my little space to talk about all things crafty. So a really warm welcome to you if you're new here, and a huge welcome back if you found me before. I'm based in Germany, over on the western side, not too far from the Dutch border, in a city called Mönchengladbach. And I've lived here for about 8 years now, I think. But I live here permanently with my partner, who is from this area. And yeah, so that's me. And I'm filming today on a Sunday. I don't normally film on a Sunday. Normally I put my episodes out on a Monday, but my partner has got to go to Amsterdam for a few days for a business trip, and I'm tagging along with him this year, which is nice. So I won't be able to film tomorrow, but I'll tell you a little bit more about that later, because I've got plans while I'm in Amsterdam that hopefully I'll be able to show you when I get back. So grab yourselves a drink. Today I've got some more peach tea. I think I've been drinking a lot of peach tea recently. It's very nice. And yes, let's get settled in to talk about some knitting. So today I'm wearing quite an old knit. Oh no, maybe not that old, a couple of years maybe. Yeah, so this is the Campside Classic, and I did this as a test knit for Alicia Plummer, and I made this in a local to me wool. Well, it's a Shetland wool, but it was commissioned by Wollfest, which is not too far away from me, and she specialises in British yarns, Shetland yarns, that kind of thing. And it's a nice Shetland yarn that the lovely owner of Wollfest had, and I picked up. It's quite warm actually, I might need to take this off. It's one of those late spring, early summer days. I suppose technically we're in summer now, aren't we? But it's cold and hot. So now that I'm sitting quietly, I might need it. I don't know. Anyway, so I'll put a picture up here of me modelling it on the screen. Yeah, I finished this a couple of years ago, and it's just a nice, plain, simple, quite a boxy cardigan. It's got a simple raglan construction. I knit the size G, and to be honest, I should have gone down a size, I think, or at least stopped the raglan a little bit sooner, because it's a little bit big for me, but it's just a nice easy layer to throw on over other things. So yeah. What else can I say about it? I knit it on 4.5mm needles, which is a US 7. All the ribbing is done on 3.75mm needles. That's a US 5. And now that I'm wearing it, I see that it needs debobbling a little bit. I don't notice until I start wearing things when I'm filming, and I think, oh, that needs steaming, or that needs reblocking, or debobbling, or whatever. So yeah, making these little podcast episodes certainly make me look after my knits a bit better. But yeah, this is a nice, plain, simple cardigan. I like the eyelet detail, but you could quite easily omit the eyelet details if you wanted to. And I just chose some really plain, simple coconut shell buttons, which I don't really use, to be honest. Sometimes I do up the top ones, but I normally just leave it open as an extra layer, to be honest. So yes, that is what I am wearing, and I think I probably would make this again, but as I said, I'd go down a size and probably omit the eyelets, just to have a bit of a plain, simple sort of look to it. Although, I don't know, it is kind of fun. It is kind of nice. And I also love the button band. It's a very neat button band. I was very proud with my picking up of stitches along the edge for this one. I did a really nice job, even if I do say so myself. But it's worth taking your time. So when I'm picking up for a button band, normally a rate of sort of 2 in 3 stitches is a pretty good pickup rate. But what I tend to do is, and I'm sorry designers, kind of ignore the number of stitches that you recommend to pick up. I put removable stitch markers along the edge that I'm going to be picking up, so to divide it into equal sections, into quarters or sixths or whatever. And then I start picking up, see how many stitches I've picked up in that first section, and then try and repeat that for the other sections. And I usually pick up an extra one at each end as well, which I then knit together when I'm doing the first proper round or proper row back again. And I find that works quite well. Also, what can really help is when you're picking up your stitches, just to be prepared to do it again and do it several times until it sits right and it sits flat. Another good tip that I find is if you're making a button band that's already being constructed whilst you're knitting flat or whatever, make sure you put in removable stitch markers where the buttons are supposed to be, so they correspond with the buttonholes you're creating on the other side. It just makes life a bit easier for you when you're then coming to sew the buttons on. But yeah, I was happy with that one. It lies quite flat. But yeah, I think most knitters, if you've picked up a button band, you know that you quite often need to do it more than once to make sure that it lies flat and it's behaving itself as you want it to. So yeah, but I was happy with this one. It's very nice, and the wool is softening up nicely, although it does need debubbling a bit. I love this colour. It's just this really warm sort of brownish mustard colour. It's coming over a little bit orange on the video screen, I think, but I'm really happy with it. It's a lovely colour. It's kind of autumny, but it goes very well with the skirt that I'm wearing today, so I thought I would go with it. So other than that today, I have got one FO, a couple of WIPs to talk to you about, because I've been primarily working on one WIP this week. So let's start with my first and only finished object. Okay, so my one and only finished object today is a pair of socks. So these are my handbag socks that I've been working on for the last month or so, I suppose. So I always like to have a little simple project that I don't need a pattern for in my handbag, so that if I'm waiting in the dentist surgery or at the doctor's or at a bus stop or whatever, I've got something to do. Or if I'm just having a cup of coffee out and about, I can quickly grab these to work on. So these are made with scraps from other projects. Oh, I forgot to say at the beginning, I put chapters in so you can skip through any bits you're not interested in. But I also link everything down below, all the patterns that I use, any yarns, that kind of thing as well. And if you do have any questions, feel free to comment down below. I'm more than happy to. I do tend to answer all the comments. So yeah, feel free to ask any questions or whatever. Where was I? Yes. So this is scraps from other projects. The lighter colour and both of them actually. It's an alpaca sock from Lang Yarn, and this is a 4-ply alpaca sock yarn, and it's so soft. It's really nice and squishy and fluffy and lovely, and I love this sock yarn. So it does pill like crazy when you first start wearing them, but because it creates such a lovely fine but very warm sock, I find this perfect for wearing with boots. So I tend to live in Dr. Martin boots during the winter, and these are absolutely perfect because they're not super bulky, but they're very warm and they're just absolutely spot on. So yes, this is Lang Yarn's alpaca sock 4-ply. I put the colours down in the notes below, and this is leftovers from the Nightfall sweater I made for my partner from Maxim Sear. And this is, I think I just bought this because I like the colour, but I bought it a long time ago, and I made another pair of full socks just in this colour. And I thought I'd use it for the toes and heels. So yeah, I don't use a pattern per se for my socks like this. I just cast on 64 stitches, do about 80, between 60 and 80 stitches for the leg, or rows, sorry, for the leg. I tend to do a 2x2 or a 3x1 rib. This one's a 2x2 rib. Then I do my little heel flap, aim to pick up around 15 to 17 stitches on the heel flap, and then continue with the 2x2 rib, but just on the top of the foot. I then just do a normal to me, so of course it's normal, rounded toe where I'm just decreasing evenly until I've got 14 stitches left on each needle, and then I Kitchener off the end. And to be honest, for me, that is a mindless project. I don't need to think about it. I don't need to think, oh, where am I? With a plain sock like this, I do tend to keep a little stack of bold markers in my handbag. So then I can mark 20 rows as I go down. Yeah, there's nothing else to say about these. Just nice, simple, warm socks to pop away for when the weather gets a bit cooler. So that is my one and only and not very interesting finished object this week, I'm afraid. While we're on the subject of socks, I don't normally show you my handbag project, but I thought I'd show you this week because I'm using some interesting yarn. So following the same pattern, I'm making some shorties. So the only adaptation I make for shorties is I start with the cuff, do 10 rounds of 1x1 rib, and then go straight into the heel flap. And I also make my heel flap a little bit longer because I find that if it's a bit higher, it doesn't slip under my foot while I'm wearing my trainers or whatever. So I wear a lot of these during the summer. I find them really comfortable to wear under my trainers or whatever. And I'm making these with scraps. So the heel colour is, I think it's called Bigglebug, something like that, from John Arbon, and this is just their Exmoor sock. And I find that really handy to have a little stash of it for my heels and toes because they have such cute colours and they go with lots of different things, and they're also a really durable, nice sock yarn that you can put with other things as well. Apologies for the interruption, my coffee machine decided it was time to turn off and do its automatic cleaning routine. So anyway, yeah, so the heel is Exmoor sock and the stripes are leftovers from other projects. So a few episodes ago you will have seen that my mum and I made a little shawlette each, and this is the leftovers from that project. And this is La Bien-Aimée, just their sock yarn in a really pretty light blue colour. All the details are down in the notes below. And the beigey colour with the little cute speckles in it is from Bird Street yarn, and it's just some of their BFL sock in the colourway Merlin. I picked this up a few years ago when I went to Amsterdam, and I made a knotted raise shawl from Stephen West, and this is just the leftovers from that project. I thought I didn't really have enough of either to make a complete pair of shorties, so I thought they went really nicely together, so I decided to stripe them. There's the little bits of blue in that one as well, so I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, so they go together really nicely. That's my handbag project at the moment. I'm feeling both like I haven't knit a hat in a while. I'd like my partner, whenever we go to yarn shops, my partner often sees yarn that he likes the colour of it, and so he has an array of Musselburghs in different colours. If you look back at my previous episodes, you'll see lots of them in various bright and gaudy shades because he does love his bright colours. So yeah. Also, project bag from my mum that you'll notice goes very nicely with the patchwork on the back here that my mum also made in the same Tilda fabric. Yeah, so that's my small WIP, my handbag project for the moment. But my main project at the moment is a test knit for Jessica McDonald. If I just get the notes up. And this is a t-shirt that I'm making, and I'm almost there. As you can see, I'm almost there. I was watching television last night, just picked up the second sleeve. So I'm almost there. I hopefully should be able to get this off the needles and blocking today. And yeah, this is a cute little colourwork t-shirt that I'm thoroughly enjoying knitting. So I've made this in the 5th size, and I've got gauge with this yarn, which is, where is my... I talk about this as well in my last couple of episodes, so if you want to know more information, go and have a look at that. But I'm making this in Kremke Lazy Linen. This beautiful brick colour, it's gorgeous. And the mix for this is 80-20 for just merino wool and linen. And I love linen yarn. I absolutely love those little flecks in there. I think they're gorgeous. It makes the texture just look so interesting. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love all yarn, I love all wool, but I do really enjoy those little flecks of undyed linen that you get in there. My contrast colour is this. I've got loads of it left. Not sure what I'm going to do with it. We shall see. Maybe I'll experiment with making some socks out of a linen yarn and see how durable they are. So that one is from Schoffelwoll and it's Albino. It's 85% wool, 15% linen. So it's a slightly different makeup. And yeah, I'm just having a lot of fun making this. I haven't made any modifications other than making the body slightly shorter. However, now that I've finished the body, so normally I'm quite short in the body and normally I knock off about 4 to 5 centimetres on a pattern to make it fit my body length. However, I don't know if it's the yarn or if it's due to the colour work or whatever, it's fitting with a lot more negative ease than normal for the size that I've picked. So I'm knitting the 5th size, which is about, should get about 5 centimetres of positive ease for my bust size, which is about 48 inches, about 120 centimetres. So after blocking, I should get about 4 centimetres of positive ease, but I'm not getting that for some reason, and I'm not sure if it's because the yarn is very, very springy or what's happening, but I'm hoping that after I block, everything will be sorted with the magic of blocking. So I did swatch for this, and I got gauge with the recommended needle size, which was a 3.25mm or a US 3, but it is shorter than I anticipated that it would be. So what I'm going to do, persevere, block it quite aggressively to see if I can get back some of the length, and do my photographs and everything because it's a test knit. And then if I'm not happy with it and I don't feel like I can wear it because it's too cropped, then I will rip it back and I will add in some more length. To be honest, I'll probably add in the length underneath the colour work so that I don't have to do the colour work again. But obviously that will change the pattern quite a lot, so I don't really want to do that before I've done my final photographs and everything. But we shall see. It might turn out absolutely fine. It's often the way with colour work, you get a change in tension in the final project until you block it and kind of everything eases out, and I don't know what the word is, it kind of smushes together, smushes out, and everything becomes a lot more even. I've really enjoyed this pattern. So it's a simple drop shoulder construction, start at the back, knit, 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 do some shaping for the back, pick up the fronts, do some increases, join the fronts, knit, 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 colour work. And I've opted to do Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off. And one thing I will say is this ribbing is I don't know what the word is. Challenging is not the word. Mind-numbingly boring is probably the right word because it's on a 2.25mm needle, which is a US 1. Ugh. And I thought I'd put an extra centimetre in the ribbing. Why did I do that? Why did I do that? Just because I like a slightly deeper rib, but oh. I did a surprisingly stretchy bind off for the top as well, so it's very stretchy. And yeah, just followed the pattern. I ended up with a few extra stitches in the sleeve, just because I think I'd knitted a bit longer in the armhole than the pattern recommended accidentally. So I think I've got 1 or 2 extra stitches, and yeah. Do you know, I said at the beginning I haven't made any modifications. I suppose I have. I've made quite a few modifications. I don't normally do that with test knits. I've knit the sleeve slightly longer than it says in the pattern. I put in a surprisingly stretchy bind off instead of doing the bind off and pattern that was recommended. I've made it shorter and I've increased the depth of the rib on the hem. I've made quite a few modifications to this. Apologies to Jessica McDonald. I will put I'll put lots of notes on my Ravelry. Oh dear, never mind. But yeah, this is almost ready and I love the fabric. It's very, very soft. It's got that interesting texture from the linen flex in it. It's going to be a really, really nice knit. And if I'm, as I said, if I'm not happy with the length, I'll go back and add some in here. But it's got a really 70s vibe. I was saying this to my parents the other day when I was talking to them about it. When I was a kid, we used to go camping every summer. And when I was a very small kid, we had kind of hand-me-down tents from grandparents or whatever, and they had curtains that were a very similar design, like a stylized flower with lots of oranges and browns and that kind of thing. And it has that kind of 70s vibe, and I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. Really appealed to me. This pattern, as in the colourwork design, sorry, this is why I signed up for the test knit, because I saw this kind of stylised flower pattern. I thought, oh, that looks really nice. Really stylised, summery, bit of fun. Why not? It would be fun as well to if you could be bothered, to pick out all of these different flowers in different colours. That would be nice, wouldn't it? You could do it in a brown and a grey and a beige and stuff. It would look really cool. Anywho, have I got anything else to say about this? The deadline is, I think it's sometime in the first week of June, so I imagine this pattern will be out mid-June, something like that. It's really size inclusive. I've got the notes here. Goes from about 35 inches up to about 64 inches, excuse me. So that's about 88 centimetres up to 160 centimetres. So yeah, nice and size inclusive, and just a really fun, simple knit. I would say this is quite beginner friendly. You do need to pick up stitches at a couple of points, but it's nothing that you can't handle. I have confidence in you. So I'd love to hear about any summer knits that you guys are doing at the moment, or winter knits if you're in the southern hemisphere. What are you knitting on at the moment? I'm looking for some inspiration for the next thing I'm going to show you, which is a lingering WIP that I've had hanging around for ages. I started this last summer and I'm really not happy with it. This is the home camisole from Kadri, and it's been scrunched up in a project bag for ages, so it looks a little bit wrinkled. But I love this colour. Let's talk about the yarn first. This is BC Garn Lino, and I love knitting in linen. I love this colour. It was at my local yarn shop, and die Geschenkewerkstatt, and Iris let me take this home with me for a little bit of a discount, which was nice because she wanted to get rid of it because it was the last bit that she had in stock. And I held it double to make a home camisole. And as you can see, I'm not far off finishing. I just need to finish the body, and then I need to put in the I-cord edging. But I'm really not happy with this. It's on a 4mm needle. I also discovered I left the needles in the project, which I suppose is not a bad thing, but I wondered where these went. But yeah, it's done on a US 6, and this linen is 150 meters per 50 grams. So I'm having to hold it double to get gauge, and it's still not making a fabric that honestly I'm happy with. And it's very heavy because I'm holding it double. And also I think I've picked a size that's too big. So I'm not happy with this. I'm really not happy with this. So I think I'm going to frog it. I'm looking for a bit of inspiration. I am not afraid to make something on really teeny tiny needles, as long as it's right. I don't mind if something takes a while. The recommended needle size for this is a 3 to 4mm. And I've got to be honest, I don't know how they're getting that, because I'm making this double on a 4mm and it's making a really open fabric. I'm not happy with it. So yeah, I think I prefer to make something that's a 3mm or less, that kind of gauge, or that kind of size of needle. So I'm looking for ideas. I'd like to make, I think, quite a plain, simple top that's nice and easy to wear, probably a plain t-shirt. Do you know what, I could have a go at just self-drafting a linen t-shirt. I've done it before. But yeah, if you have any ideas for something nice and plain and simple that uses something around a 3mm needle, I'd love to hear about it, because yeah, it's heavy, it's not right, I'm not happy with it. And one should listen to one's intuition with such things, because as I was making this, I was thinking I'm not happy with it, but I thought, no, I'll keep going, I'll keep going, I'll keep going. And I'm not happy with it, and now I'm coming back to it again. I'm thinking, yeah, I'm going to frog this. It's going to be a pain to frog though, because it's held double, so I'll need to enlist some help, I think, to frog that without getting into a great big knot. So yeah, any ideas? Comment down below. I'd love to hear about your recommendations for a linen top. Also, have you made anything using BC Garn Lino? what did you make, and what were you happy with that? So yeah, that is that. Also, I like this project bag back. It's got puffins on it. It's from Hodgehag Creations in Scotland, I think she is, and she has an Etsy shop, and she had this puffin bag. I think I saw it on the Amy Palco's podcast years ago. I think I saw that she had one, and I immediately just went and ordered one, because if it's not got moomins on it, it's usually got puffins on it, and yeah, I can't say no. So that is that. That's all the things I'm working on at the moment, apart from my Florence sweater test knit that I'm doing for Eleanor Mortensen, but I haven't done anything on it since I last showed it to you, so I'll probably pick that up again this week. So I might even be able to finish it by the next episode, but I'm not in a rush. The deadline isn't until the middle of June, and to be honest, I really enjoy doing colour work, so I don't want the project to finish too quickly. It's a lovely sweater. If you're interested, go and have a look at my previous episodes. It's very pretty. Okay, let's move on to some irresponsible purchases. Okay, so yesterday my partner and I spontaneously went to a yarn festival in Duisburg, which is kind of northeast from us, just past Düsseldorf. It's yeah, it was really spontaneous. To be honest, I was kind of spent out in terms of yarn and stuff over the last month or so, because I went to Wonderwall and everything. But it was such a toss-up because I live in Germany and there's not often a yarn show within an easy drivable distance from me. There used to be one in Düsseldorf, but they stopped that a couple of years ago and haven't reintroduced it. So all of my local yarn festivals tend to be in the Netherlands, and as a result, I'm very familiar with the Dutch dyers, not so much with German makers or, you know, from the other German-speaking countries. So I couldn't really pass up the opportunity, and I put some footage of the yarn show at the end of this. But it was great fun. It was brilliant. It was in an old steelworks building that's been converted, so the whole area is a big park with loads of different sports and events and stuff like that. Even in the great big tanks where, I don't know, they used to store something liquid. They're now for people to go and learn to do diving in, which is just so cool that such an industrial thing has been turned over to such a community-minded project. It's brilliant. So yeah, we went there. I have to admit that I've always had a bit of a problem with anxiety and stuff, so I thought I'd just be honest about it on the podcast. I find those sorts of events with lots of people there, especially if it's an enclosed space, quite overwhelming sometimes. And I did have the beginnings of a panic attack yesterday. So it was, I think it's important to talk about stuff like this to normalise it, but it was quite overwhelming sometimes. So I tend to, when I know I'm going to an event like this, plan, work out which dyers I'm going to go and see, work out where everything is, where the route is, where, I don't know, where you can sit and have a cup of tea, that kind of thing. And I didn't do that because it was spontaneous and it turned out to be quite overwhelming. But luckily, my partner is amazing and he just said, look, if you need to lie down on the floor in the middle of this room, I will lie down with you. He's very sweet. But yeah, if you saw me yesterday and I was kind of in outside drinking a cup of tea, looking a little bit pale and wan, that was why. But yeah, I think it's important to talk about things like that to kind of normalise those things, because I think a lot of people have a similar thing, particularly after sort of the pandemic and everything. But anyway, but despite that, I had a really, really nice time yesterday after I calmed down and had a cup of tea. And I got some lovely, lovely things from all of them. Oh, no, nearly all of them new to me dyers. The first thing I picked up is, that red. It's so saturated. This is from Luxvola, and she is based in Tyrol, which is kind of the Italian border kind of area. and this is a DK merino, and it's just a really nice superwash DK. And I saw this and I thought, at some point I will make myself a nice festive hat, a nice squishy brioche or something like that hat using that. It's just a really nice fun colour. Oh, nice and squishy. So yes, that was the first thing that I got. All of these dyes are linked down below if you're interested. The next thing I picked up was, I'm not sure how to say this and I should have asked them. It's a dye from Lithuania, Apmezga. I'm not sure how you say this. But this is another linen mix yarn, and this is 90% merino superwash and 10% linen. And the base they're calling Draco, which I assume means dragon, Draco. And I have a real soft spot for this kind of mix, as you know. And I've got a few different colours lurking around from previous projects. I've got a lovely dusty rosy pink colour. I've also got some nice hickory coloured stuff from Woolen Twine. And I'm thinking if I can put all of these together, I think it might make a lovely stripy t-shirt at some point. So I just picked up one skein of this to go with my other linen mixes that I've got lurking about. So that was that. I also picked up a skein from Atelier Het Volbeest. Now she is relatively local to me, based in near Roermond, just on the other side of the Dutch border. And I've ordered an advent calendar from her this year, my first ever advent calendar, because it's Moomin related. I couldn't not. And I wanted to try some of her yarn as well because I haven't used it before. I saw this, I couldn't leave it. And this is just a sock yarn, 75/25 in extra fine merino. And I think the colourway is called Old Leaves. It's very pretty, so I'll tuck that away for some colour work or something like that. So that is that. It's very soft and squishy. All of these are. We're so lucky, aren't we? We get to play with these beautiful things as yarny people. There's lots of beautiful things, including this. I'm so happy about this. This is a fine merino sock, 75/25 again. And this is from Mönchengladbach, where I live. And she's a local to me dyer. She doesn't have a bricks and mortar shop, but she does have an online shop. And I have seen her things online. But it was just so nice to meet the dyers, and because it's a family affair. And yeah, she's based just down the road from me in Mönchengladbach. And this colourway is gorgeous. Now I'm thinking that I might put some of these away as prizes because I will be doing another make along over the summer. Thank you to the people who messaged and commented on the last episode. I think we're going to do a similar arrangement to last summer, and probably start sometime in June and do another thrifty mile, so making things from stash. But don't worry, I'll put all of the details. I'll probably talk about it in the next episode, and we'll do a proper launch for it in the next episode. But yeah, so last year we had 3 prize bundles of different local to me yarns or locally bought yarns, and lots of other little goodies, and they went off to, I think 2 went to Canada and 1 went to somebody in the Netherlands. So yeah, I love the idea of local wool going off around the world, so I think this one will be in one of the prize packages. But yeah, really happy with that. The last thing I got was some fibre, and this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful braid comes from Austria, from a lovely lady called Steffi, and oh, it's just gorgeous. I saw this and it had to come home with me. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I just love the colours. This is 50% BFL, 25% alpaca and 25% soya silk, and it feels like, I don't know, I can't describe how soft it is. It's cushionish. It's just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, this came home with me too. And considering that I wasn't going to buy any yarn yesterday, I have the breaking strain of a melting Mars bar, as my dad would say. Never mind. It's really, really fun. I'll probably try and do some sort of fancy spin with this. I'm still learning, but I'll probably try and do something nice with it. We shall see. So that is that. And I think, to be honest, just check my notes very quickly, but I think that's all I've got to talk about today. So yeah, my WIPs that I've got, going to the yarn festival. Oh, other chatty stuff. So at the end of this episode, I think I'll put in some nice calming, nature footage of an outdoor museum that my partner and I went to last week called Insel Hombroich, and it's a big outdoor art space with beautiful gardens, and it's just a lovely place to go and visit, so I'll probably put some footage at the end. But I mentioned at the beginning that I'm going to Amsterdam next week for a few days with my partner because he needs to go for his work. And whilst I'm there, I've taken advantage of the local amenities, and I'm going to be doing a weaving workshop for a couple of days. Never done any weaving before, thoroughly looking forward to it. So yeah, watch this space, and hopefully I'll take a bit of footage whilst I'm doing it, and give you all the details in my next episode and show you what I made. So I'm really looking forward to that, because I was looking at Wonderwall last week at the little rigid head looms from Ashford. I'm very tempted. I'm thinking it could just live under the sofa when I'm not using it. We shall see. Anyway, if you've made it to the end, congratulations, and thank you so much for choosing to spend your time with me. I really appreciate it. And I hope you enjoy a little bit of footage from the yarn festival at Duisburg and our little walk outside in the beautiful countryside of my little part of Germany. So yes, have a lovely day wherever you are, and I will see you soon. Bye.